Hi, Bob Morrow from Email Homes. Wanted to talk a little bit about bidding wars. It's September, and everybody's back in the marketplace, and we're starting to see bidding wars. I myself created one a couple of weeks ago here in Dundas on a property that was not really good for our investors, but it was a friend that I had to sell a house for. It wasn't really conducive to duplexing, but it was an old home from the early 1950s that hadn't been done, anything had been done since then. And we decided to list it at $399. Now the house is actually worth probably $420, $430. That's what it would have been listed at normally. We sold that house in a bidding war for $470. So that's $70,000 over the list price. But what we need people to understand is that that list price wasn't realistic to start with. So even though we say $70,000 over list, in actual fact it was probably only $30,000 over, which is still a lot, but it's a little more realistic because now that person's going to go in and instead of thinking they've paid $70,000 too much, they've actually only paid the $30,000. And if they do the renovations properly, other homes on that street are selling in the $550, $600 range. So they're still well within, even putting in $100,000 of rentals, which you probably would need it that much. They're still going to make some money, even though technically they paid so much over the list price. And we got a lot of, a lot of talk about that. Wow, the prices are going crazy. We're going $70,000 over list. You have to keep in mind, and this is where your real estate agent comes in handy, is that price that they're putting out realistic to start with? And the reason I bring this up is because sometimes when I'm working with investors, they see these price points of $399 or $415 or even sometimes $429 on some of the better homes, and they think, wow, what a bargain, let's go in there and go $5,000, $6,000 over and we're going to get a bargain, or even in some cases even go lower and see what happens. That never works, and the reason is because that house wasn't listed properly, at the right price to start with. They're trying to create a bidding war. What we need to do is look at all the comparable sales around that neighborhood and see, for example, if a house is listed at $429 and all the other homes in the area are selling for $450, $460, then really that house should have been listed higher. They're doing this to create the bidding war. And in doing so, they're hoping to get people to come in and maybe hit the 500 mark, which they may well do. But the idea of going in at, seeing $429 and saying, well, we're going at $430 or $440, you're still not in the area, you're still not at the level that all the houses that sold in that area are. So the odds are you're not going to win that bidding war. So you need to educate yourself and understand what bidding wars really are. Those list prices that agents, myself included, put there are to create this frenzy. They're not realistic numbers. The realistic numbers come from comparing what's sold in the area and then intelligently putting in an offer that makes sense for you and in order to win the bid.